Hey, what's going on today, guys? Hope you liked the little intro. Today's gameplay is just about the class setup, basically. And I'll obviously talk about more stuff. I can't talk about a class setup for 13 minutes. It's a long commentary. But these games are long. There's a reason. They're competitive. They go. It's kind of just how the game is. Search and destroy, even with 1.5 minute rounds, can go quite a while, especially if it's a close game. Which this one, the guys that we're playing really aren't very good. I know we just lost this first round and whatnot, but these guys really aren't that good. The the team that we're playing is I guess they were like 0-7 or 0-7 at the time. I think we gave them their eighth loss. Um, but I wanted to show off this class. This class that I'm using is the AK-12 with the foregrip and the armor-piercing rounds. And the armor-piercing rounds, in my opinion, are very, very effective, especially if you want to get, how do I say, if you want to get wallbang kills, which is basically what you want to do in a lot of these maps, especially Warhawk. Because if you shoot through a bomb site, if someone's planting the bomb and you're trying to shoot them, and you're shooting them through the bomb site, it's basically like you're shooting through a concrete wall. It's very, very difficult to kill them because there's just, again, it's like there's almost like invisible walls there, and obviously you can see like there's a bomb site that's there, but it's very, very difficult to kill people there. I've used a Remington with my red dot sight and foregrip, and I've just blasted people for quite some time, and it didn't really work out at all. And I wasn't using armor piercing rounds on that particular weapon, and that's what leads me to basically explain why I picked the AK-12. Well, I picked the AK-12 because, in my opinion, it is the best assault rifle. In terms of its iron sights, it has the assault rifle. In general, don't have the best iron sights, but this particular one has great iron sights. So you don't really need to attach an optical sight, such as the red dot sight, which is my personal favorite and go-to choice whenever I'm running an assault rifle. That's typically what I will put on it, red dot sight and foregrip, because it's pretty much necessary. The grip really comes into play at medium to long distances, more so than a close distance. It's very, very difficult to hit people. At least kill them as quickly as you want or would want to if you were not using foregrip on your assault rifles. And another reason. So the first reason that I chose the AK-12 is because of its iron sights. The second reason is because it doesn't really have that much recoil, but I'm able to use a foregrip on it to reduce that recoil even more. So it really has a very good kick pattern that I've been accustomed to a little bit, because I use this weapon a lot in public matches. I would actually kind of call it the only viable weapon in public matches, but that's obviously not 100% true, but it's just kind of my opinion because if you want to play a public match and you want to use this weapon, well, my kind of go-to class would be this weapon with a silencer and a foregrip. Because in a public match, you definitely want to stay off the radar because there are just so many people and it's just kind of a frenzy. Everyone's just running around. But in a competitive match, you don't really want to use a silencer because it's just not very effective and it's going to really screw up your range. And you need all the range you can get because you want to be able to cover, short range and long range, and it's just not super effective because of the callouts being so strong. If the other team is good, they're going to call you out, so your silencer is basically almost negated. But I mean, there would be some reasons for using a silencer in the competitive match, but yeah, I'd stray away from it. You don't really need it. And so the biggest thing. So those two reasons again for picking the AK-12 over any other assault rifle when I'm using the armor-piercing rounds is the AK-12's iron sights because they're very good, and two, the AK-12 has not too much recoil, and plus you can add, instead of having to use an optical attachment, I use grip. I use grip and I use armor piercing rounds. Now, what's the purpose behind using armor piercing rounds? Well, again, I think I alluded to it earlier. It's just so you can, those people, how many times have you been frustrated at, you're like, oh man, I could have probably gotten that kill if I had, armor piercing rounds, or could just shoot through this thing. You probably weren't thinking armor piercing rounds, but it's very, very, very effective. And there are just so many situations where people are hiding behind cover, where they're head glitching or whatnot, and people aren't going to be expecting someone to be having armor piercing rounds because most people do not use it in competitive. I mean, I'll give you one reason why most people don't use it. Well, because most people use an assault rifle are going to use a red dot sight, and if you want to put a red dot sight and the armor piercing rounds on, you're going to have a lot of recoil. You're just going to have to burst your weapon and stuff like that, and it's a heck of a lot more difficult to get those shots off. But that's where this kind of class setup comes into play, and that's where it's very unique. And if you take advantage of this, I think you're gonna see some good results because again, not many people, for one, expect it, so it's gonna come as a shock to most people that when they get wall banged so hard, so quickly. Some people will stay behind a wall and they'll be able to take shots behind a wall because if you're using the regular bullets, the non-armor piercing, then you can take a lot of shots behind a wall, for the most part, without dying, and that's just the big difference that you guys got to think about it. If I don't recommend everyone running it because I don't really think everyone should run the AK-12 because it's not the best assault rifle to use in competitive. Probably the best one is probably the Remington. Remington has a lot of damage and it's good from pretty much any range. It's not definitely not that great up close, but it's an assault rifle. It's still viable up close as long as you hit your shots. And so I typically will use like my class setups. I've been playing a lot of search and destroy. Pretty much only search and destroy for competitive. I think that's the only thing I've been playing for some reason. It's a lot of fun though. Not that I don't want to play the other game modes, but anyway, getting back to basically what my class setups would be for search and destroy. Well, I definitely have like this class setup that I've been telling you, and I'll typically run, like as you see, look at the bottom right hand corner, I'll be running a frag grenade and a tactical grenade. I don't need to go all out on perks. I have, the perks that I need. I have my quick draw, I got my ready up, I got my dead silence, I got my focus. I might be using something else, I don't really know, but those are like essential perks for an assault rifle. You don't necessarily need quick draw. Something that I've been learning is that quick draw is not super beneficial if you're running a submachine gun, because submachine guns, the aim down sight time, I believe, is 0.2 seconds, whereas on assault rifles it's 0.3 seconds. Now both of those numbers, both those figures that I just listed are without quick draw. With quick draw, you can reduce those times by quite a bit. I think maybe you might get a 33% faster, or I think it's actually 50% faster, because back in the day, if I recall correctly, sleight of hand, and I think it was sleight of hand pro that was just super overpowered, because you could aim in Black Ops, the original Black Ops, because you had sleight of hand, so you could reload faster, and then you could also aim down sight faster with sleight of hand pro. And I think both of the modifications were you reload 50% faster. It didn't say that, but that's what it came out to be. Reload 50% faster, and then the time it takes to aim down sight is reduced, cut in half, essentially. So I'm pretty sure those figures are fairly similar. You can see the difference. Quick draw is always going to help, but it's just not going to be as much of a difference on a submachine gun because they already aim down sight so quickly. What you would want to run on a submachine gun would be ready up, so you can get your gun out, pick your gun up faster after a sprint. And ready up is even important if you're going to hip fire. It's very important for both hip firing and aiming down sight just because you have to bring up your weapon to shoot with hip fire or aim down sight. So it's something that you definitely need to be using. Oh yeah, so the other perk that I was using here in this competitive match was strong arm. I highly recommend strong arm if you have the available point to use it, because throwing things farther is going to help you. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but some people might overlook that. But there are definitely some nade spots that you can only get um, by using strong arm. And that's something that my team is working on right now, or the team that I'm on. We're definitely working on the basics, the fundamentals, how to play a competitive match, the call outs, what strategies are we gonna do, what kind of nade spots are we gonna go to. It can get more complex than that as time goes on, but we're learning step by step, and I think we're definitely getting better. So that's what most of my videos are going to be now. I believe if as long as I continue playing competitive matches with these guys, because that's again what the majority of my time spent on Call of Duty Ghosts will be. So there won't be too much else, but I'll definitely get some public matches in there for you guys, because that's something I also want to do. Because public is fun. It's just fun to take a break, and it's a great way to warm up. Public matches are a great way to warm up for competitive. You can always just go straight into competitive, but I'm definitely down for like warming up in public match. It's a great way to just get a feel for the pace of the game and to react to all different types of situations, because people are just relentless in public matches. They will do anything to win. They will play the cheapest way. They'll use IEDs, and a lot of the stuff that you see in the public matches, sure, it's not gonna you're not ever gonna see an IED. At least I don't think so in a competitive match. But it just kind of prepares you for different other situations, and most importantly, gets you warmed up and accustomed to the pace of the game, which is what you need to be. And see, that's a great spot. You guys need to start using that. And again, since that guy went in the building, but it didn't really matter because I got armor piercing rounds. So something to think about, guys. Anyway, I will see you guys later, and you guys have a wonderful day. All right, bye.
Good. We'll see if we can stay consistent.
It's on Sovereign.